Today we're going over the top 3 myths of VA loans that might be screwing you out of your future. Today I'm here with Billy Chard. Billy is with Veterans United. We've quickly become some close friends here. But we're gonna go over some VA myths that might be either holding you back or maybe getting the place that you want. So out of everything that you've seen, Billy, what is the number one thing you see people that they just don't understand?
So Dan, I'll be honest, this myth has been around. I was actually in the military.
Yeah.
I was a pilot in the Navy for 14 years. And I remember when I went to buy my first house, this myth was around. So this is a myth that's lived for a long time. So the number one kind of misnomer myth that I hear is that people will say, I don't want to use my VA loan because I want to save it.
Yep.
And so the understanding or the misunderstanding is that you can only use your VA loan one time in your entire life, and that's it.
So meaning they think they can only buy one house with it?
Correct, meaning that it's a one-time entitlement. So people will think that I want to save that for my forever house.
Sure.
You know, and I want to keep that on the shelf because it's such a good deal, and it is.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely not true. So number 2, kind of because of number 1, number 2 has been born that you can only have one VA loan at a time.
Okay.
So
so you can own more than one house with a VA loan?
I actually do own more than one house with a VA loan right now.
Expound, I wouldn't understand, yeah.
So when I was younger in the military, I bought a house in Pensacola, Florida.
Gotcha.
And we lived in it for 3 years. And then we got orders to Japan. And so we moved away from that house and I rented it out. And when I got back stateside 5 years later, we bought another house with a VA loan. And so that entitlement that I was talking about, what happens is when you fill that entitlement up based on the county, you can continue to use a VA loan, but you just have to start putting some money down.
Gotcha.
Number 3, so the third one, now these kind of all nest together, right?
Yep. So
we talked about you can use it more than once.
Right.
In fact, you can use 2 at the same time. And so the third one is, I hear this a lot, is that people say, well, I'm on military orders.
Yeah.
I know I'm leaving in 3 years.
Right.
And I don't want to have to refinance this property.
Okay.
Because the belief is, or the misunderstanding is that you can't rent a house when it's on a VA loan.
Okay.
And that's not true. So
gotcha.
The VA loan requires owner occupancy.
All right.
Meaning the intent to occupy at the point of purchase.
Right.
So you can't buy a house as an investment property.
Okay.
You have to live in it.
Is there a rule on how long they have to
be
there?
There's not. I mean, again, there are certain rules, and I will defer to my real estate attorneys in the audience about deeds of trust and things like that, way beyond my limit.
Yeah.
But as far as the intent, you will sign that you're going to live in that house.
To occupy.
Right, and you do, and that's the intent of the property, the intent of the purchase of the property.
And so we had actually a bonus piece that we thought would be important to cover. 100% financing. What exactly is 100%? Does that mean I bring no money to the table?
That's a great question, Dan. So 100% financing has a little bit of a fine print in there. All right. So when we talk about 100% financing, the VA will allow you to borrow either up to the purchase price or the appraised value, whichever's lower.
Right.
All right. And then on top of that, you can also finance your VA funding fee, which the VA charges a small funding fee in lieu of mortgage insurance.
Right.
Those are the
because they're guaranteeing that loan, right?
Correct. Okay. So the VA is going to guarantee, it's government backed, they're going to guarantee this loan, and because of that, you're going to pay a small fee to the VA.
Sure.
However, there are other costs that you will incur when you purchase a house.
Closing costs
and prepaids, right?
Okay. So from what I understand, it's kind of similar to buying a car. Like, the value of a $10,000 Corolla, you have like tax, title fees, registration.
Absolutely, that's a great parallel. Okay. Yeah, that's a great parallel. So, people that need to get paid when you buy a house are the appraiser, the attorneys, title insurance, the city wants their recording fees. There's lots of fees.
Everybody wants their money.
Absolutely. So there's lots of things, people that can't wait 30 years to get their money, right? So the appraiser doesn't want to get $6 a month for the next 360 months. He wants to get paid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So because of that, the 100% financing is true, meaning there's no down payment requirement as long as you have proper entitlement, but there are things that need to be paid.
And then the last piece I think that we wanted to make sure we covered is the VA loan is the only loan product that allows you to pay off debt. with the seller's concession?
So,
if you have excess?
so I won't say it's the only loan product,
Yeah.
but one unique characteristic and a very beneficial characteristic of the VA loan is they do allow excess funds from the transaction, meaning if the seller concedes a certain amount of money to be put towards things like revolving debt, car payment, credit card, correct. And one of the big ones that people use, which only savvy agents like Dan think about, are if you are in a lease, because a lot of people say, well, I can't buy for 6 months because I'm in a lease. But a lot of apartment leases, or just single family home leases will have a provision for a buyout.
And I'll actually even make a quick note here. Just because your lease says that does not mean that you can't go back to your landlord and negotiate that. If you can go to your landlord and say, hey, can we make a provision or an alteration to the lease? Would you be open to, say, a 60-day notice and a 1-month buyout? Which just means that you're going to give him 1 extra month's rent payment and give him a 60-day notice of when you plan to not be occupying the property. And a lot of these guys will be open to that because we have such a active renters market. It's not going to be that difficult. And you're basically telling that landlord, hey, would you like an extra month's payment?
Sure.
Was he going to say no to that? Sure. So if you just have basic questions or just want to go, I don't know, we have a job offer, shouldn't include my wife's income, how long is my wife going to need to work before I can include it? There's so many little scenarios that you probably think on a daily basis. Billy will field that call and answer those for you. So if you'll give me your number real quick on...
Yeah, so it's 757-589-9463, and you can always stop in. We're at 564 Lynn Haven Parkway here.
Yep.
Stop by and see us, and we're happy to help. We pride ourselves in helping veterans. You know, Dan and I both being veterans.
Yep.
It's a great place to be. So, Dan, I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Peace.
See ya.